It's a lie, oh. That's what she always says. You think we don't know what you're doing in that your so-called bank work? Sleeping around with men, disgracing this house. Who doesn't know you in this village? And the annoying part is that they keep referring to you as my daughter-in-law, bringing shame to this family. How can I be linked to someone like you? Mama, what are you saying? I would never. Keep quiet, she snapped. I'm tired of sheltering in disgrace. You are not my daughter-in-law. My son has made that clear to you. That night, after Toby left with Cynthia, Osinachi didn't sleep. She just sat there, cross-legged on the floor with Chidera in her arms and silence in her chest. The baby had stopped crying hours ago, but her own heart didn't. Inside the house, Mama Toby's joy filled every corner. She's so beautiful. Cynthia will give us twins. Not like that one who just walked in here with pregnancy, she said loudly, making sure Osinachi could hear every single word. Osinachi said nothing. She boiled rice that night and ate none of it. Just watched her child's tiny mouth twitch in sleep and wondered what she had done to deserve this life. Chidera was only 6 months old. The next morning, something shifted in her. She wrapped her daughter on her back and stepped out to look for work. Her first stop was Madam Ralia's shop, the one who had given her cleaning work in the past. But when she got there, the place was deserted. The shop was locked. A neighbor nearby whispered, "Ah, you never hear? Madam Ralia died last month. She had a terrible car accident." Osinachi stood still for a long time. Then she turned around and walked to Ngozi's workplace, the bank. Ngozi was surprised to see her. "Osinachi, are you okay? Hey, how is baby?" Osinachi replied quietly, "She's fine, but I'm looking for a job. Anything at all, Ngozi. I'm ready." Ngozi looked worried. "I would have helped you, but the bank won't allow you work here with a baby on your back, and with your age, it might be hard." Still, she promised to keep an eye out. Osinachi walked back home, her heart sinking. She returned to hawking plantain chips from Mama Toby. Morning till night, she walked the dusty streets with Chidera tied to her back and a tray of chips on her head. Then one weekend, Toby visited. Cynthia was with him, wearing sunglasses and chewing gum, looking like she owned the entire village. Mama Toby danced. "We are doing wedding, oh! My son and my daughter-in-law is here!" Osinachi waited till she could pull Toby aside. "Please, Toby, Chidera needs food. She needs drugs, anything that you can give me to assist." Toby frowned. Don't start. Please. What is my own with you? Didn't I tell you to leave the child with my mom and go? Did I beg you to suffer here?" She opened her mouth, but his voice cut sharper. "Osinachi, I've moved on. Don't embarrass me. You're just looking for who to blame for your bad choices. Leave the baby and walk away." But Osinachi knew she couldn't. She wiped her tears and walked away. The next day, she adjusted her tray and continued hawking. That became her life until she turned 18. Ngozi was getting married and relocating to Lagos. And before she left, she called Osinachi one evening. "I've spoken to my boss. I told her about you. She has agreed to hire you as a contract staff to clean. You'll be replacing me, but you must put Chidera in school. She can't follow you to work." Osinachi nodded quickly. Thank you so much. I will." She found a small nursery school nearby and used part of her savings to register her daughter. That was the beginning of a new phase. She started work the following Monday, and for a while, it felt like she was having a different perspective of life. One Wednesday evening, Osinachi had just finished cleaning the lobby, wiping the glass doors until they sparkled, and mopping the tiled floor until it shone. Her back ached badly, and the strong smell of disinfectant still clung to her hands. She was about to step out and head to Chidera's school when she heard a voice outside. Someone near the gate speaking loudly on the phone. There was anger in his voice, frustration, maybe even fear. She paused by the door, her ears picking up bits of the conversation. Hello, bros. Please, I need your help. Our boss was attacked on the way to Ibadan. They took everything from me, my phones, my wallet. Right now, I'm just sitting by the roadside. I don't even have anything with me. I don't know where I am, self. I beg. Please, if you can just send me 50,000 naira. I need 50K. It's already late and I need a place, maybe a hotel, so that I can lodge and transport to leave this place. Honestly, I don't even know what to do anymore. There was silence. And then he continued, are you serious? So you can't help me even if it's 20K? But his voice was low now. He ended the call and dialed again, but there was no answer. Then again, yet nothing. The man was young, maybe in his early 20s. He wore jeans, a t-shirt and dusty loafers. Sweat trickled down the side of his face. He looked completely out of place in the neighborhood, like someone who was used to comfort but had been stripped of it all. He caught her staring. What? Why are you looking at me like that? She looked away quickly. No, I wasn't looking. He sighed, dropped his small leather bag on the pavement and leaned against the wall. Sorry, I'm just tired. I've had such a terrible day. Osinachi hesitated, then approached him slowly. You said they stole your things? He nodded. Are you new here? Yes, actually, I don't know where I am. I'm supposed to be on my way to Lagos before the terrible accident. If I hadn't hidden the small phones I have, I would have been so stranded. Osinachi bit her lip. She opened her small side bag and brought out an envelope. I don't have much, oh, but I don't know if you can just take this one. It's just 15,000 naira. It's my salary oh, for this month. I was just paid. His eyes widened. You want to give me your whole salary? Are you serious? She nodded. It's no more true. But maybe it will help you find your way. I know what it is like to be stranded in this life. He looked at her again, properly this time. What's your name? Osinachi. He held the envelope like it was made of glass. Do you work here? He asked, pointing at the bank. Yes, I do as a cleaner. Wow. Thank you so much, Osinachi. I don't even know what to say here. You didn't have to, but you did. Just promise me you will use it well, Osinachi asked. He smiled faintly this time. The real one. I'm Daniel, and I promise you've helped someone who won't forget. She smiled, then nodded as she walked towards her daughter's. That evening, the air around Mama Toby's compound was too still to be peaceful. Osinachi walked in tired from the long day, only to be greeted by an unexpected sight. A small plate of jollof rice and chicken on the table. Toby and Cynthia were sitting in the parlor laughing and enjoying themselves. They had come to show Mama their newborn baby, they said. Osinachi noticed the new clothes, the fresh perfumes, and the gold wristwatch that gleamed on Toby's wrist. He looked like a man who had finally gotten his life together, and beside him, Cynthia, his wife, sat with a smile. But when she saw Osinachi enter, her expression shifted. Her eyes narrowed, a quick dismissive glance that seemed to ask, what are you doing here? It was as though Osinachi's very presence was an intrusion, a reminder of a life that didn't quite belong in their new world. Osinachi had returned late that evening. When she had gone to pick Chidera up from school, she found her daughter running a high temperature. Panicked, she rushed her to the chemist, but she was short on cash. She had given the last of her salary to a stranger who claimed to be stranded. She had pleaded with the chemist for hours, asking him to just treat her and give medicine on credit, and promising to return and pay it off in a few days. By the time she walked into the compound, dust had already settled in, and Matobi was in the kitchen clearing the dishes. Osinachi could hear the laughter from the parlor as she stood there in the doorway, feeling the weight of the silence pressing in on her. She had never felt more like an outsider in that home. Toby stood up the moment he saw her. Why are you just coming back there this time? Osinachi, exhausted, held Chidera closer. She had fever. Her body was hot all day. Had to find a way to treat her. Before she could finish, Mama Toby exploded. It's a lie, oh! That's what she always says. You think we don't know what you're doing in that your so-called bank work? Sleeping around with men, disgracing this house. Who doesn't know you in this village? And the annoying part is that they keep referring to you as my daughter-in-law, bringing shame to this family. How can I be linked to someone like you? Osinachi turned to speak. Mama, what are you saying? I would never. Keep quiet! She snapped. I'm tired of sheltering a disgrace. You are not my daughter-in-law. My son has made that clear to you. Toby's face darkened. Wait, what did you say, Mama? Mama Toby looked at him with a wicked satisfaction. Your girl here has been messing herself around in this village. Everyone knows her now. She sleeps around and comes home very late every single day. See this girl, she has no shame. Toby turned to Osinachi, eyes cold. Is it true? Osinachi blinked, tears already forming. It's not true. How can you even ask me that? For the past 4 years, you haven't sent a kobo for your daughter. I've been working, struggling, carrying everything alone. Even after you told me you were going to take care of us. Chidera, confused and frightened, began to cry. Her tiny hands clung to Osinachi's wrapper. Cynthia stood up sharply. Toby, this nonsense needs to stop. I can't believe your ex and her child are still here, stressing your mother, living with her. You have to tell her to leave. She has to leave now. Let her carry her wahala elsewhere. Toby looked from Cynthia to his mother, then back to Osinachi. His face was cold, distant. I think you have overstayed your welcome in this house. Since you've turned yourself into a street prostitute, you need to leave now. There is no place for someone like you in this place. And without another word, he shoved her out of the door. Chidera, sensing the tension, began to cry. Her sobs echoing through the room, but Toby didn't flinch. He paid her no mind. I said, leave here immediately with your baby that you claim is mine. He added harshly, as if the words were meant to wound deeper than the push. Osinachi gasped, her chest tight with disbelief. Toby, no, please, I beg you. Don't ask me to leave. I have nowhere else to go, she cried, her voice raw with desperation. Please now. It's late now and your daughter is sick. Please don't send me away, Toby. Please, I beg you. But Toby stood unmoved, his eyes hard as stone. Mama Toby, now standing in the doorway of the sitting room, joined in with a loud, spiteful shout. Yes! Send her away! Yes! Send her away! Her voice rang with venom, reinforcing her son's cruel words. Osinachi collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her face. She held Chidera tight, her baby's cries only adding to the weight of the moment. Let me just stay for tonight, she begged, her voice barely a whisper. I'll leave tomorrow, I promise. Please let me just stay for tonight. I can't sleep with my small baby that is sick outside. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. Toby and his mother were resolute, their hearts closed to her suffering. It was useless. That night, with no choice but to obey, she stumbled out of the compound, her heart heavy, the world seeming to swallow her whole. The night was cold and unforgiving as they walked away from the only place she had called home. She found a small, uncompleted building a few blocks away, and there, with no blankets, no comfort, Osinachi used her small bag as a pillow. She laid her head on it, clutching Chidera to her side as the night pressed on them. The next day, Osinachi reached out to one of her colleagues, a woman who had always been kind to her. The woman offered Osinachi a small room far from the office area, isolated and quiet. Osinachi didn't have many options, so she accepted the offer without hesitation. Though the distance from her office was no longer close, it was a small price to pay for the peace. In that small, humble room, Osinachi found something she hadn't known in a long time. She knew peace. There was no more name calling, no more abuse, No more nagging, no harsh words from Toby or Mama Toby. It was a relief she hadn't known she needed, and with it, her heart began to heal. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. One afternoon, as Osinachi was sweeping the corridor, lost in the rhythm of her walk, a security man approached her, his footsteps echoing on the floor. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice firm but polite. "The manager wants to see you in his office." Osinachi froze for a moment, the broom almost slipping from her hand. Her heart skipped a beat. "Manager wants to see me?" Her voice raised. Was this good news or bad news? Things have been slowly getting better, or at least she had thought so. She had been working hard, putting in her hours, and she was hoping that with the salary she was about to receive, she would finally be able to complete her payment for the accommodation she had found near the office. She had been getting used to the peace, the routine, and now, where was the manager calling her? Her mind raced with possibilities. Had she done something wrong? Was there an issue with her work? The thought of it made her stomach churn. She tried to push the worry aside as she stood up, wiping her hands on her skirt, and made her way to the manager's office. "Please let this be good news, oh," she prayed. When she entered the office, her eyes scanned the room quickly. The manager was at the desk, but standing near the window, bathed in the soft afternoon light, was a face she knew all too well. It was Daniel. For a moment, time seemed to slow. Her breath caught in her throat. He wore a simple white shirt tucked into dark jeans, his shoes polished and clean, far from the person he had met on the street that fateful day. There was a gentleness in his eyes. When he spotted her, he smiled. "Osinachi, I finally found you." She blinked, her heart did a small flip. "Can we talk?" Osinachi gave the manager a shy glance, uncertain of what to do. The manager, seeing her hesitation, simply nodded. "You can go ahead," he said, a calm assurance in his voice. The manager looked between them and then spoke up. "Mr. Daniel is a very close friend of mine. He told me what happened the other day, and honestly, I couldn't have been more proud of you. To think that I was just a few steps away and my friend was out there. Thank you so much, Osinachi." Osinachi's cheeks warmed, a mix of embarrassment and pride filling her chest. The manager's words sank in, and for the first time in a while, Osinachi allowed herself to feel proud of what she had managed to do despite everything. "You can take the day off," the manager added with a smile. Osinachi grinned, a sort of excitement bubbling inside her. The weight of the day lifted, and for a moment, she felt light. Like maybe, just maybe, things were starting to go right again. She nodded at the manager, then turned and walked out of the banking hall. They went to a nearby restaurant. Daniel gestured for Osinachi to take a seat, and she obeyed without a word. The air around them felt a little charged, and she couldn't shake off the feeling, the mix of nervousness and curiosity bubbling inside her. He looked at her with a warm smile before speaking. "I didn't forget what you did for me the other day," he began. "That 15,000 naira saved me in more ways than you can imagine. I know I told you I'll come back." Osinachi didn't know what to say. The memory of that day felt so distant now, yet so real in the moment. She had never expected anything in return. But here he was, sitting across from her, offering something more than she could ever imagine. Daniel then reached into his bag and held out a brown envelope. "This is for you. It's 1.5 million naira. It's your salary with interest. It's my little way of showing appreciation." Osinachi stared at the envelope, her mouth growing dry. She couldn't believe her eyes. 1.5 million? Her mind couldn't process it. She didn't know whether to scream or cry. All she could do was stare at him, utterly dumbfounded. They spoke for a while, and Daniel asked about Osinachi's life. She told him everything about Chidera, the struggles, the lonely nights, and the small victories. When she finally finished, Daniel leaned forward, his voice low and nervous. "I want you to come work in my company in Lagos," he said. "I'll pay you better and I'll give you child support. I'll also give you flexible work hours so you can further your studies if you want to." Osinachi's lip parted, but no words came. She just blinked at him, unsure of what to say, unsure if this was all real. "And one more thing," Daniel said, standing up and walking towards his SUV. He reached inside, then came back holding a brand new phone. "I would like you to have this one so we can keep in touch whenever you need to." Tears welled up in Osinachi's eyes. She tried to speak, but only a whisper escaped her lips. "Why are you helping me like this?" she asked. Daniel smiled gently, his expression soft. "Because you helped me when I needed help. And people like you, they deserve more." Osinachi felt the tears spill over, but she couldn't bring herself to wipe them away. She simply nodded, the weight of his words sinking deep into her heart. That night, Osinachi couldn't sleep. She kept touching the envelope, her mind wondering, am I dreaming? She pinched herself twice as if the pain would bring her back to reality. She held out the envelope again, slowly pulling out the money, her fingers trembling. It was real. All of it. Real. A few weeks later, Osinachi moved to Lagos. She found a cozy 2-bedroom apartment and started working at Mr. Daniel's firm as a part-time staff member. She also enrolled in school, the hope for a better future slowly turning into something tangible. Daniel wasn't always around because he traveled often for work, but whenever he was home, he helped with school runs and always drove her home after work. They became friends, real friends, the kind who looked out for each other. 4 years passed. Osinachi earned her degree in business administration. Chidera thrived in school. Daniel and Osinachi grew closer, first as friends, then as something more. Their bond deepened with time. One evening, after a quiet dinner, Daniel knelt in front of their modest 2-bedroom apartment, holding a simple ring. Chidera was there, watching, smiling. "Can we be one family?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. Osinachi's heart leapt. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. "Mommy, say yes," Chidera said, smiling. Overwhelmed by the love and care Daniel had shown her, she whispered, "Yes," her voice cracking. Not long after, they got married and moved into Daniel's beautiful duplex, and life began to smile back at Osinachi. But life had one more surprise. Osinachi, now 24, walked with a calm confidence that came from surviving and thriving. The scars from her past were still there, but they no longer bled. They were now part of her, woven into the fabric of who she had become. That afternoon, she went to Chidera's school for the inter-house sports. It was a vibrant, colorful event. Parents came and children shouted with excitement. She wore a simple yellow dress, her hair neatly packed in a bun, her makeup soft and natural. Daniel couldn't make it, so she had come with her driver, determined to enjoy the day with her daughter. As she approached the school gate, holding Chidera's lunch bag and water bottle, something felt off. The man standing at the gate, dressed in a navy blue security uniform, looked oddly familiar. Thin, tired eyes, a slight limp in his gait. There was something about him that tugged at her memory. "Oga, abeg find something for your boys," the man said to her driver, his voice raspy. Osinachi's heart skipped. The voice. She knew that voice. She wound down her car louvers and screamed, "Toby!" He raised his eyes and his face froze in recognition. "Toby!" she called again, her voice rising. "What are you doing here as a security officer in this place?" His lips parted, but no sound came out. His voice twitched, maybe from shame, maybe from shock. He seemed unable to process her words, stuck in the reality of his situation. Osinachi studied him for a long moment, but there was no hate in her gaze, no anger, not even pity, just quiet recognition. She had seen him as his best and at his worst, and now here he was, reduced to this. "Mommy, that uncle looks familiar," Chidera said, tugging at her husband. Osinachi smiled faintly, the past momentarily flickering in her mind. "Yes, I used to know him," she said, loud enough for Toby to hear. She turned to her driver. "Keep going," she instructed, her voice calm but firm. As they drove away, Osinachi glanced back in the rearview mirror. Behind her, Toby sat there, his gaze locked on them. Every sound faded. The children's cheers, the drums, the announcers' videos, they all melted into a heavy, suffocating silence. It was as if the world had gone still. He adjusted his cap, holding the gate key in his hand, and slowly sank back into his plastic chair under the hot sun. For the first time, he understood what it truly meant to be invisible. The weight of his fall from grace, the distance between who had been and who was now, crushed him with an unspoken finality. It had been 2 years since Osinachi married Daniel and 2 months since she saw Toby in front of Chidera's school gate. Life had changed in many ways she once thought were only possible in dreams. Her daughter, Chidera, now a bright and confident child, was thriving very well. Osinachi herself had risen steadily in Daniel's company, now overseeing operations in the southern region. Peace lived in her home, laughter danced in the walls, and for the first time in her life, her mornings didn't start with tears. Then, one quiet Sunday afternoon, while she was tending to her small garden in the backyard, her gate bell rang. The gate man came to her garden. "Madam, there's a man here to see you. He said his name is Toby." When Osinachi went to saw him, Toby looked even worse than she had seen him months ago. His clothes were worn, his cheeks sunken, his eyes tired and red-rimmed, held a sadness she had never seen before. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice guarded. He didn't speak immediately, just stood there as if waiting for the strength to explain why he hadn't returned. Toby stood, his shoulders hunched, the eyes sunken like a man who hadn't slept in days. He opened his mouth, closed it again, tried again. I need help," he muttered. Osinachi didn't speak, just looked at him, not with anger, but with the kind of stillness that makes a man confront himself. He swallowed hard. "Cynthia is dead." Osinachi blinked. Her hands froze on the gate. "She died during childbirth 3 years ago," he continued. "It was her second pregnancy. We thought everything was going fine until something just went wrong." He exhaled sharply like the words had been sitting heavy on his chest for too long. "She bled too much. By the time we got to the hospital, she was already going." There was silence. I held her hand. She asked for water. That was the last thing she said, just water, and then she was gone. Her voice cracked, and for a moment Osinachi saw a flicker of the boy he used to be, lost, ashamed, small. "Her parents blamed me," he said quietly. "They said I didn't take care of her well, that if I was a better man, and maybe she would still have been alive." Osinachi didn't say anything. "They fired me from the company, took their house, the official car, everything that they gave me, and even took my baby Shade. You saw where I'm living now, with plastic rats, and they don't even fear human beings again." He chuckled, that dry, hollow laugh of a man who had stopped pretending to have pride. He looked up, eyes glassy. "I've been struggling these 3 years, trying to see what I can make out of my situation. And then Mama's issue came up. Mama is very sick. She's at Sacred Heart Hospital every single day. I give every little thing I have just so she can remain alive. She's the only family I have now. Just yesterday, doctor said she needs 3 pints of blood, and that if I don't get it, she might not make it." Osinachi remained still like stone. "I know I don't deserve anything from you. After all I did. But I'm begging you, please. Please help me. Help me. Help her. She's all I have in this world, and she's dying." There was a long, aching pause. And then, slowly Osinachi stepped back. "Leave my house now," she said firmly, closing the door. The next morning, she woke early, made breakfast for Chidera, packed her school bag. Then she drove, not to work, not to Chidera's school, but to Sacred Heart Hospital. The ward sailed of ditto faded hope. She found Mama Toby in the last bed by the windows in a general ward, wrapped in an old wrapper that had seen better days. Her cheeks had sunken, her arms, once strong, had heavy, looked like broomsticks, but her mouth was still sharp. As soon as she saw Osinachi, her eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. Holy Ghost fire! Am I dead already?" she croaked, trying to sit up. "Is this Osinachi, or am I seeing spirits?" "It's me," Osinachi said simply. "You came?" Mama Toby echoed, blinking rapidly. "I've paid for the blood," she said calmly, setting down a white envelope. For the first time in a long while, Mama Toby was speechless. Then with a raspy chuckle, she said, "So, this is how God does his revenge, eh? No thunder. He just used you. The same small girl I treated so badly is the one saving me." She shook her head. "I'm so sorry for what I did to you." "Thank you so much. God bless you," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Osinachi stayed there just about 10 more minutes. That evening, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, then picked. "Hello?" A voice familiar, small. Osinachi, it's me, your mother. Please, I need us to talk. Osinachi didn't respond immediately. She looked at her daughter, the soft rise and fall of her chest. She thought of nights spent on cold floors, of being called names, of begging for love, of building something from nothing. Then quietly, she cut the call and sat in the silence. The end. Thank you so much for watching this story to the very end. Osinachi's journey was not just about pain. It was about rising above it. Osinachi was betrayed, abandoned, mocked. Yet she didn't let bitterness define her. Instead, she chose peace, growth, and in the end, she chose silence. Not because she was weak, but I feel it was because she had healed. Now, I would like to hear from you. If you were in Osinachi's shoes, would you have helped Mama Tobi? I would though. I will not help. My second question is, do some people deserve a second chance or should Kama finish his full assignment? Well, it's up to you. I would like to hear your thoughts. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real life stories that touch the heart and shake the soul. Thank you so much for watching. Stay kind, stay strong, and always remember, your story isn't over yet. See you in the next one. Bye.